A year ago, I decided to properly become a novelist. I had written books before, novellas, plenty of short stories. But in 2022, my goal was to set aside all of my other creative endeavors, day job aside, and focus exclusively on novels. I wrote 2 books last year, and prepped with detailed, comprehensive outlines a few others. These books went up primarily on Amazon Kindle, where pretty much nothing happened. Look, 2022 was actually an awesome year for me. The focus on writing and the focus on the process of writing was one of the most satisfying experiences I had ever experienced. But there was still that persistent, nagging issue of, well, getting my work in front of an audience.
I'm going to steal this, okay? Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Are you enjoying district events so far? That much, eh? Well, our next act employs a highly technologically advanced audience participation program to rate each act. Simply put, when I raise my hand like this, you applaud. And when I lower it like this, you boo. Got it? Let's practice. All right then, on to the first act. Cue the curtain.
At the end of 2022, November 18th to be exact, I made the decision to try my hand at producing an audiobook. There were 2 major factors in this consideration. First, my good friend and longtime creative collaborator, you've seen him on my channel before.
And it's a musical.
It's a musical.
That's like double flabadoo with diagrams.
Why isn't this formula working, Frankie? If I'm going to turn zombies into living people, I need to perfect the methodology of distribution. Gah!
Then you might have noticed that we can talk.
Yeah, he's got a point, you know.
Wait, are you a survivor?
Me? I don't survive. I live. You dig?
We're two talking. Come on, Matt. What you gonna do? Me?
I'll show you. You know what I'm gonna do? That's what I'm talking about. Come on, you know you like it, Chris.
Woo, yeah, that's what I'm talking about.
And spoiler alert, I have an entire mini documentary fully produced about this guy's small town famous, tragic, behind the music backstory.
First, what I'd like to do is get the name of the individual names of this group, the Detours, if you can start.
Sure. Richie Stam from Winchester. Joseph Fusco from Lexington. Ken Mello from Winchester. And Matt Horowitz from Lexington.
So I met Joseph in 2nd grade.
My earliest recollection was this kid walks into the class. He's dressed in these pinstripe tight pants with a button-down, red button-down shirt, beetle fringe. He's got like Buddy Holly horn-rimmed glasses on. And then as soon as he opened his mouth and he had a British accent, it was a done deal for me.
When we just hit it off, we became instant friends. So when I started learning the guitar, it's when Joseph, when we started to really think, hey, let's put a band together. And by 8th grade, we had a band.
Seriously, it is a great little doc that no one can watch. At least, for right now. Anyway, this guy needed my books to be more accessible. So I figured I'd produce an audiobook, at very least, so my friend would be able to listen to it. The second factor behind this decision started bubbling up after I began the absolutely monolithic task of recording Abraham Owens is punched drunk and all out of fucks. I knew immediately that if I was going to produce an audiobook, I would ultimately release it on YouTube, free to watch. YouTube. My first love. My long-time love-hate steady. While other internet platforms come and go, YouTube remains. Standing stoic, always ready and waiting to accept my creative work whenever that beautiful, mysterious, elusive inspiration finally strikes. I have had small amounts of success in my 15-ish years on YouTube. I found great small-time collaborative success with my webcam series.
Trust me, it's not worth the energy.
That's the last thing I intend to do.
What's that?
Trust the zombie.
Hey!
Well, you're the one who's responsible for this whole ill-conceived apocalypse, running around and eating the hand that feeds you.
Oh no. This whole mess is his fault.
Me?
You're the one running around killing all my kind. It's your fault. We can't all live in harmony.
You're a zombie.
But I'm a person too. I have feelings, you know.
For crying out loud. Is that a mummy?
Yeah, well, an apocalypse always brings out the freaks.
And even found a modicum of virality with a Lego T-Rex stop-motion animation. What I haven't done, aside from the webcam's days of past, and what YouTube practically demands of its creators, is focus entirely on a specific niche and ramp up the consistency and regularity of that specific creation. Audiobooks, or audio dramas if we're talking short stories, are actually a perfect fit for doing exactly that. Audiobooks also exist in the perfect, well, for me, cross-section of technology and creativity. I love learning about and exploring audio-specific gear and solving the unique technological problems inherent to crafting that immaculate, creative soundscape. Better still, where most authors produce an audiobook explicitly to sell on Audible, I'm genuinely more interested in finding an audience. I'm more interested in making a production widely available and accessible. I'm more interested in playing in a space where people are now consuming a lot of long-form content, but where most original or independent audiobooks will rarely make the leap. That potential, that new frontier, that fresh ground, that notion that few are attempting to tap into this market, that is what is most exciting about producing long-form audio content for YouTube. Which brings us to part 2 of this story. As a function of my day job, I record the voiceovers for the videos I produce. In this professional environment, the final edit is always mixed with background music, either epic and dramatic for trade shows and events. It's information and communication. Or gentle and subtle for demos and how-tos. On this screen, enter your first and last name, as well as your phone number. Optionally, you can also tap to upload a profile image. After tapping continue, you'll receive a prompt asking for a fleet ID. And since I have full control over the mix, I can make do with rudimentary or simple audio recording setups. I started with a Blue Yeti and this really cool around the microphone audio shield. Since I was recording short-form tracks, anywhere from 30 seconds to maybe 5 minutes, I could take 10 to 15 minutes to turn off the AC and monitor closely while recording, listening for passing traffic or airplanes, and just pausing until the offending noise was gone. Process, edit, music, bam! When it came time to get rid of a king-size foam mattress, I elected to carve it into pieces and use it along with 3 tall bookshelves placed in the corner of a room to fashion a cheap sound booth. It worked great, and it allowed me to stop worrying about the air conditioning and passing traffic. This is where I started recording my first audiobook. I was still using the Blue Yeti, recording into GarageBand, and processing and editing in Final Cut Pro, because I am a video editor. I produce everything in Final Cut. That's what I know, and as much as I love not knowing how to do something, because that means I get to figure it out, at the end of the day, I'm going to be figuring it out in Final Cut Pro. At least, at first. So this is how I started my first audiobook, recording with a USB microphone in a kludged together foam mattress sound booth. Okay, this didn't go anywhere nearly as planned. First, if you actually made it this far, thanks for watching. Genuinely. Second, everything you just watched, well, more than like 95% at least, was written, recorded, and edited back in February. It's now late August, and yes, a lot of life has happened in the months between. What's important, though, is that everything you just watched was effectively only half of this story. So, rather than suffering the indignity of incompletion, well, let's just say, stay tuned for part 2.